everybody, to today's episode of the Anime Lounge podcast. We are talking about a short 12-episode, one-movie show called No Game, No Life. As per tradition, we have an adult beverage of choice. Ricky, what's your adult beverage of choice today?
Today I'm drinking Jim Beam Black Extra Age Bourbon. And I'm chasing it down with a Busch Light Apple. Pretty rare to find, by the way. Lance, what about you?
Today I will be drinking some Basil Hayden's Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. And I'll be chasing that down with just a regular Busch Light. What about you, Matt? What are you drinking?
I am drinking Knob Creek, aged 9 years. And then I also have a New Glarus Spotted Cow, which is a Wisconsin favorite. Ricky, can you give us a synopsis of what this anime is about?
Alright, so No Game, No Life is basically, well, it is a comedy. It's kind of a pervy comedy. Follows Sora and Shiro, which you'll get to meet, obviously. They're siblings. They are online gamers, legendary gamers that call themselves blank. They kind of see the real world as just another lousy game until like a strange email challenges them to a regular chess game, and after they defeat the stranger, they get another random email basically sucking them in or plunging them into an unworldly realm. That's where they meet the god of games called Tet. Well, his name is Tet. You find out that the world's called Disport. It's made out of 16 other races, which we do have a list and we'll find out later on. We'll get into that. But basically, these two new characters are in this world and gaming is everything. So everything is decided by games. It's a pretty fun anime to watch. But before we get started with our discussions of this anime, Lance, how about you start us off with Lance's lessons?
Today's Lance's lesson is going to kind of come straight from the show itself. The word today is going to be kuhaku. That's going to be spelled Kuuhaku. Ku, it's a combination of two words. Ku meaning the sky or empty air, and haku meaning white. And when you put them together, the anime described it as blank, which is their
gamer tag.
Their gamer tag. And that concludes this week's Lance's lessons. Keep an eye on Facebook and Instagram for the kanji.
All right, so No Game, No Life. Matt, what do you want to start with, man?
I'd say, what do you guys think of the Ten Commandments?
The 10 Pledges?
Yeah, the 10 Pledges. There we go.
I think they're awesome. I think they're a completely new idea for me to be invested into a world, something to follow. I don't know about you guys, but my favorite rule is really the big one where if you lose to your bet, then like you have...
Are you talking about number 6? Any bets made in accordance with the pledges must be upheld?
Yes.
What about it?
You got them right in front of you?
Yeah. Oh, my bad. What about it?
I just really like that one because like Steph loses a bunch of her bets and then she's not even expected, but she has no choice but to follow through. Like in the first couple episodes where Sora tells Steph that she has to fall in love with him, and like she can't not fall in love with him. Mm-hmm. I just think it's cool that like you have no choice but to follow these rules.
I like that, man. Because let me get a little personal here. I feel like nowadays, especially with your friends, you make a lot of bets, and it just might be something stupid, whatever. But like, I just feel like nobody ever takes them seriously anymore, and nobody pays up on their shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I really like that one. It must be upheld. There's a good example of that I think like the very first episode when they get sucked into the world and you see the scene of these 3 men begging for like Sora to give them at least a pair of pants or something. It's like, dude, it must be upheld. It's like, I just can't give it back to you.
Right.
Type of thing.
Totally wrecks them.
You shouldn't have bet it if you couldn't risk losing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. And then I do find it funny how they make comedy out of it when Steph like loves Sora for a second and then realizes what's going on and she's like hitting her head against the wall,
bashing her brains. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely a lot of comedy when it comes to this whole thing.
Yeah, I think the comedy really comes in this series once you totally disband your like seriousness for this kind of a show. Like if you just accept that it's like a sillier kind of show, you can accept everything a lot better.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That was at least my take. I know this is so much BS going on in this, but just shut your brain off for a little bit and just enjoy it, and then you can really appreciate some of the comedy.
Well, it's when you have a kid and Tet being the one that's essentially the god that created all this. It's you have to think of it in like kind of a kid mindset, where everything's a game, and you need to think of it like a game, which is kind of what they do with Sora, and they do a really good job. He's like, I don't take anything too seriously, and that's why Tet and I are friends, essentially.
I can roll with that.
Out of those 10 pledges, Matt, which one was, I wouldn't really say your favorite, but like what caught your attention the most?
I would have to say there's two of them. All conflicts must be resolved through games, and then the cheating one. So it's being caught cheating during the game is grounds for instant loss. So it didn't say you couldn't cheat. It just says you can't get caught cheating, which pretty much is very good when it comes to sleight of hand type stuff. And they show that when Stephanie and
Kurima
in a game together, and she's obviously cheating. Kurima is cheating, but Steph has no idea.
Yeah, she can't prove that she was cheating, so therefore she's destined to fail and lose.
What about you, Ricky? What is your favorite commandment or covenant?
Number 8, like you said, being caught cheating during a game is grounds for instant loss. That's interesting to me because throughout the show you see a lot of loopholes. Like Sora's like almost the king of loopholes, just kind of find different ways. But one that really had me just had a couple questions is all murder, war, robbery are forbidden in this world. That's number 1.
Yeah.
So what happens if, because obviously they're saying, you pick up on the show that you can't kill people, nobody's really, I don't think anybody's died for the longest, murdered for the longest time. What if it happens? Do they instantly vanish? Do they go to jail, or is there a jail?
Right. Yeah. I don't know if they really even dove deep into that.
I just think it's not possible.
Right. Because we learned that the kingdoms get taken over through games, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they were taken over by wars, because we learned that the beasts are outplaying the humans and no one dies.
Yeah, I think it's not possible. Just like whenever you make a bet, you have to follow through with that bet. I think it's the same thing, where it's just a external force prevents anybody from being murdered.
Okay. That's kind of what I figured too, because Lance brought up the situation with Stephanie. She basically falls in love with him.
No.
You can't, I'm not going to fall in love with Lance because we made a bet, in this real world. But like you said, there's an outer, a greater being kind of forcing you. So that's what really made me wonder, do you just all of a sudden vanish from this world? Or
I don't know.
Yeah, that was a nice one.
I mean, because people do die, because Stephanie's father died, and that's why all of these games are taking place in the first place, because they need to find the new king/queen.
True.
So there is death.
For the humans. Yeah, they needed to find a new
That's a good point.
Yeah, it was only for the humans. And
thanks. We really don't learn too much about too many other races that are getting killed or whatnot.
You want to go into that for a little bit, or you want to save that for later?
Other races?
Yeah.
I can start diving into that.
That's fine. What do you have in?
I was going to go through all the races. Let me see. Let me pull this up real quick. All right. So I do have it pulled up. I have them in my notes. We have 16 races, as we said before. They do mention that humanity is 16, but every single race has obviously a chess piece. They got a chess piece assigned to them. Humanity, surprisingly, is the king piece. So they're ranked last, but they're probably the most important piece in chess. 15, they're called Siren, and they are the knight piece. We haven't really got introduced to any of them. Their country is Oshenda. Rank 14 are the werebeasts. We've met them. Their country is the Eastern Union, and they're just a pawn, surprisingly. They're just assigned a pawn. 13 is Lumana. The country's Red Moon, and they're a rook. They're mysterious. I don't think we know anything about them, do we?
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Rank 12 is Damper, country Oshenda, and they're a knight piece. Demonia is rank 11, and they're a pawn. Ex Machina, which we meet one of those later on in No Game, No Life 0, the movie, and they're bishop. 9 is fairy, they're a pawn. 8 is dwarf, the bishop. 7, elf, rook. 6 is flugel, which Jabril, and that's a queen. They're pretty powerful. 5 is gigant, Gigant, Gigant,
Gigant.
Gigant?
Or like giant, I don't know.
Pawn. Dragonia is a pawn. Elemental is a pawn. Phantasma is a pawn. And number 1 is the Old Deuce. And they're a pawn, surprisingly.
Gods are a pawn?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, humanity is the king, which really surprised me. But I know it's a quick season 1, short series, but I'm a little disappointed we didn't get to meet the rest of these people. Like, find backstories.
Yeah, there's a lot of information that needs to be explained.
Unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever... I think this is going to be a one-and-done season and just never...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you gotta kind of get used to that in anime sometimes, though.
Unfortunately, yeah. It was a great anime, and I understand why a lot of people are itching at the bit to see more. And I wish they would be more, but I just have a feeling you're never going to get a season 2 when it comes to
No,
life.
I don't think so. You got anything for us, Lance?
We got the pieces brought up. Let's just talk about some favorite characters or cool characters. Matt, do you have anybody that you think is extra cool?
I mean, unfortunately, we didn't get to meet a whole lot of characters. I thought the war beasts were interesting, especially because they could communicate at such a decibel that none of the humans could hear them, which you see cool. At the end of the season when they're fighting in that game, and they're trying to blank on his name, but the grandfather is essentially whispering
Ino Hatsui.
Yeah, is whispering the locations
to Izuna.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. But I gotta say, I guess Sora would be my favorite just because he's the main character. And I found him super hilarious.
It's pretty witty. I like that.
Yeah. What about you, Ricky?
It's hard, man. Honestly, No Game, No Life 0.
Jumping in the movie?
Yep. Shiwi.
Shuvi,
yeah. That was probably my favorite.
Yeah, she was pretty badass. She was essentially the Shiro of back then.
Mm-hmm. Out of the whole, anime and movie combined, she's probably my favorite. Otherwise, it'd be Jabril. Yeah. Lance?
I would agree. I was about to say Jabril, but then I remembered Izuna, the beast, when she awakened that little beast power at the end of the Japanese game.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was pretty badass, and that's kind of like the power up that we all love seeing in our anime, and they introduced that one there, and I really like that one. I want to see more of that, or at least I wish to see more of that.
We all watched this dub, right?
Yes.
I watched the dub, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the anime watched dub. I think she's adorable, man. The thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Please, thank you.
Please. Yeah, those little cutoffs.
Yeah.
Even though that didn't make sense at the end half the time. Yeah, that was fun. Any characters that you didn't care for, Matt?
Honestly, no. I didn't really find too many characters that I thought were useless. All the characters had their own merit and brought each a little bit of something to the rest of the storyline. It was nice to see that there were no useless characters. And even Stephanie, who some might call kind of useless, she still came in great when it came into winning humanity's fate.
I agree. She's still essential.
No.
You can't take her out of anywhere and not expect any of the storyline to change.
What about you, Ricky? Any characters you didn't like, or you wish you would have maybe been a little bit different?
Character-wise, no, man. I would say I had to watch this anime by myself a little bit. I have 3 kids. They were not allowed to watch this anime with me. And another funny thing, too, I was watching this anime at home, and I got a huge bay window. My TV's facing out the window, basically. So some parts were kind of pervy, so I had to shut the blinds just to make sure nobody got the wrong impression.
All the bath scenes.
All the bath scenes.
So many.
Yeah,
but
neighbors looking in at you like, what the hell is our neighbor watching?
But yeah, besides that, character-wise, no, man, I agree with you, Matt. Everybody had, a purpose. Lance, what do you think?
No, I completely agree. I mean, there's kind of whatever moments, but everybody still has an important role. Like even the elf, I think her name was, Fail? Anyway, yeah, so all the characters are pretty important. I wouldn't change too much about anything, really.
It was a good change of pace, because even, like I had said, if people were to try to complain about Steph, I mean, if it wasn't for her, we would have never known about the king, and we would have never been able to fight the war beasts. And she brought good comedy into how many times she lost to Sora and Shiro. and just the random ways that she would lose. And just like when he bet that he could make the birds.
That was exactly where I was thinking too. I love that one so much. That was such a perfect little like F you. Like I can win this.
What was that? Which one was
The one with the birds where he said that he could make the birds move.
Oh no! How long until the birds fly away?
Yeah, that's what
she said 30 seconds, and he said 3. I remember that
And he
scene.
chucks a rock. Yeah, that was great.
Loophole,
yeah.
loophole, bro.
Is it cheating? Not necessarily.
They gotta tell you the rules basically, and if you want to make any rules, you got to say something before.
Right, it was open ended, so anything went.
That was funny. I like that.
Speaking of games, were there any of the game? What was your favorite game, Lance?
My favorite game in the beginning when Sora had to play chess against whatever her name was. Chimera. And they were basically playing with live people where they had to. I got it kind of written down super awesomely. Okay, so I really liked the chess game because each piece responded to like the player's morals or morale. Like the more emotion that you gave your chess piece, like the more that they were willing to move instead of just like soullessly playing chess like you normally would.
Yep.
So I thought it was a real cool aspect to make the pieces not trust Shiro when she was sacrificing pieces for the greater good, but the pieces basically had a mind of their own, like, oh, I don't want to sacrifice myself. And then how the opponent was cheating under, elfin magic, making her morale like top notch, so they would listen to her no matter what. And then there comes Sora with his over ecstatic enthusiasm, and just leading this war like a true king, just promising them false lies at the end, like money, wealth, and go home to your women and stuff like that, just to boost all their morale. I really liked that chess game. It put a different twist on things for me.
It kind of, especially at first, it kind of reminded me of Wizard's Chess from Harry Potter, where I don't know how much of Harry Potter nerds you guys are, but in the beginning when Harry is like telling the chess pieces to do this, and they're like, no, do this instead, and they didn't want to listen to him because he didn't know what he was doing, and that's kind of what it reminded me of when it first started, before Sora got all charismatic with all the chess pieces.
What about you, Ricky? What was one of your favorite games in this?
I like that one. I like that one a lot, but I do have a little bit of bitching, even though we did talk about how you can just like turn your mind off a little bit. Dude almost lost that game, bro.
Oh yeah,
Sora almost lost that game, and like it was obviously it's anime. They're gonna figure it out and make him not lose. But would you willingly like slide in front of the queen to save this king that's part of a chess? You know what I mean? Like he went balls to the wall and like almost sacrificed himself.
Right.
But no, it was a good game. I liked the concept of it. I liked, like you said, the morale. The other one I liked, that was kind of complicated to understand for a little bit, was Jabril's game. That word game.
Mm-hmm. Love that one too.
But
game of Shortori.
Is that what it's called?
It's called Shortori.
Yeah, that was a great one. That was very complicated at first until you kind of like got the rhythm of it. But I really enjoyed how like Sora describes the science of how he wins sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he started explaining other kinds of terms that this fake world has no idea about because he was using all real world science and just really putting her on her ass.
Well, she had an idea only because she had been reading every book Amanity has ever written. So she kind of knew, but she didn't quite know just because she wasn't from our world.
Right.
Yeah, that entire fight was insane.
Yeah.
Starting off with a nuke.
Yep, blows everything up. Yeah, I liked how it got in the end where it got a little bit more intense and like you're taking away your breathing. How did it get more intense than that? And then what?
And then a stupid little note. Not stupid, but smart. But yeah.
And I really enjoy that because it just shows how far Sora and Shiro plan into the future whenever they're doing stuff. Because he did that at the very beginning.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost as if he knew from the first... Well, he said he knew from the first word that he said and how it was going to play out, and it's just insane to think that far ahead.
Because he mentions he also states that when later on he has to fight or play against Izuna, you know, they're gonna been. You could have done this and that. I still could have told you how it would have ended. You know what I mean? I forgot what he said, but that's somewhere around those lines. Like I said, I like the science, man.
No.
He breaks it down pretty nice.
She was complaining that she enjoyed the game and that's why she lost.
Oh yeah.
And he was saying that even if you didn't enjoy the game, you still would have lost because I was thinking essentially 20 steps ahead of what you were thinking.
Yep. Matt, did you have a favorite game?
I gotta be the Shuratori game. Just the animation.
The animation was beautiful.
And Stephanie kind of side character hilariousness was getting attacked by all those monsters.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That was good. I liked how they also, when the game started, they were just like casually throwing out words just to test each other out and get things going that way. And then, of course, the comedy. That's where all that came in.
Stephanie being the butt of the jokes of everything. That's great.
Man, it's crazy how, like, they make Stephanie look like a fool this whole anime. Which is funny, you know, it's the comedy of it. But then, obviously, we're going to talk about season 1 in the movie. In the movie, you come to find out that Stephanie is... Well, we knew she was the former king's granddaughter.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But in the movie, you come to find out who those two main characters are. Riku. No, just Riku. Riku, and then he meets the ex-Machina.
Yep.
Shuvi?
Yep. I can't remember her name. Sorry about that. But, yeah, you meet them, and then obviously they get married. But they leave out the last name, which I like how they connect. Obviously, they connect it, but...
Mm-hmm. Did you guys notice when you were watching the series and the show that, I mean, it's probably pretty obvious, but Shuvi and Riku are the same voice actors as the two main characters in the series, Sora and Shiro?
I don't think I noticed that.
No.
Wait, Sora's the same voice actor as Shiro?
As Riku? Sora and Riku.
Are the same man?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, I guess now that I say that, damn sure sounds the same. I guess I never looked into it, but I think they planned it that way too, because Shuvi and Shiro are basically identical. Just Shuvi just has the Machina aspects to her.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually have a nice little fact about that. Riku. Riku, his name means, they say his name means earth, contrasting with Sora's name, which means heaven. In addition, Riku asked the Machina, Shuvi, her name?
Yeah.
She answers Schwarzen, which means black in German, contrasting with Shiro, which means white.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of opposites, yin and yang things going on.
Yep.
Schwartz.
Oh.
Yeah, Shuvi was very German.
I'm not German, bro.
Oh, and I am, so it's...
So yeah, nice little fun fact. Actually, and then the voice actor, another fun fact I found that Sora's voice actor, forgive me, I'm going to butcher this. Yoshitsuga Matsuka, I think. Probably not right. But famous for voicing Kirito's voice in Sword Art Online.
Right. Yeah, it's fun to connect all these voice actors with other popular anime.
Let me just get this out of the way so we can probably pick a topic. I got a couple more fun facts. The writer of No Game No Life also released hentai.
Oh, not really a surprise.
I'm not surprised at all. We can talk about the fan service later on. And No Game's Blu-ray Special Edition came with a little present. I want your best guess.
I'm going to guess some kind of tickler toy, now that you said it in that
Matt,
fashion.
What do you think?
I mean, the funny thing to say would be panties.
God damn, Matt. Boom, you got it. It came with Shiro's panties.
Oh, as I say, because Shiro's panties were all over this.
That's, like I said, fun little facts. I just found them. No, I do not own Shiro's panties. Just
yeah, it's probably important to throw out there.
Sora was super obsessed with panties, so that would doesn't surprise me.
Can we open this up a little bit? What was up with the whole? It was creepy how close they were, man.
Yep, that's going to be. I would say that's probably going to be the biggest reason why a lot of viewers and just anime watchers in general just aren't going to watch this one, because I know if I was just randomly going through, I don't necessarily care for fan service kind of deal, but when we start fan servicing an 11-year-old girl,
and yeah, it was weird. The other fan service, I mean, it was okay. I'll get past it.
Right.
But his sister was just, it was really
And that's what I mean. Like, yeah, we have fan service in anime a lot, all the time. But come on, 11.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to make her seem like she was older. Like they try to make her seem like this cute little, I don't know, schoolgirl, I guess, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
But they pointed out, she's 11 from the get go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that'd be the only thing I didn't like about the anime, was just that part. Everything else I was cool with.
Oh, I definitely like the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, I'm a little disappointed that we couldn't meet the rest of the races.
Yep.
But yeah, this fan service, this type of fan service would kind of prevent me from like watching it with somebody else, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a little awkward.
Yeah, I was watching this at work. And
I
was watching this on my tablet at work on my breaks, and more than most of the time, I had my hands creating like a nice little cave over the screen so no one else can see all these goddamn panties of a little girl. Oh, this is goddamn embarrassing.
Acting like you're eating at the prison or something?
Yeah, right? Like, just, come on, Japan, let's be a little bit more humane here.
Oh, yeah, bro. Like, we're all open. We watch anime. Everybody knows we watch anime. This is an anime, like, I don't want to get caught watching at a wrong time and somebody's gonna, like, glance at my phone and be like, what the fuck is he watching at work? Yeah.
Right.
Like, it's fucking perv.
It's definitely not something I'd watch at work. And even when you look into it, you find out in China they banned the anime because
of that reason?
Yeah, it was the over-sexuality of everything, really.
Mm-hmm.
And,
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was banned in China, and then it was banned in a couple other places because of Shiro, essentially.
Oh, okay.
And it's tried very hard to just kind of look in other places anytime something like that would happen, because it was weird.
Mm-hmm. You talk about the other kind of elephant in the room is their incestual, not connection, but basically incestual relation between each other. Like, I remember there was a couple scenes where Sora picks up Shiro and like puts him directly in between both his legs. Like it almost looked a little straddling, like he's ready to cuddle up and be all weird. But like, I cringed. Like, I don't need that, man.
Yeah, he did it a couple times.
Uh-huh.
I feel the same way.
It's one of those things where if you really think about it, it's like, were they related? Because
they're not related.
When she talks about the past, it's like the people that said these are my parents when probably wasn't her parents. So
yeah, didn't they explain that she was like adopted at like 2 years old and
well,
she was already like genius?
I wanted to bring that up because I did have a question, like, where are these fools' parents? I wrote that question down before like I really got into the anime though. Later on they do come out to find, I forgot what episode, but they do show like a flashback saying that Sora met Shiro when he was 3 years old. That's when like they first met.
That was...
Wait, what? Sora's... In the beginning of episode 1, Sora's 18, Shiro's 11.
When Shiro was 3 years old, not Sora.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
So when Shiro the girl was 3 years old, that's when they first met.
Yes.
That's when they first met.
Yeah, so that was I think episode 9 is when they talk about it. Is that flashback, because that's when Shiro basically loses all her memories and only kind of has those memories of Sora, and that's when Sora has the game between, I'm trying to think on her name, the slave girl.
Slave?
Yeah, she's technically a slave through the fairy, through Feel.
Yeah.
Feel is actually her master, but Kurumi was actually the slave. She was bought by...
Oh, yeah. Damn, yeah. I forgot about that.
But Feel just wanted to make Kurumi happy, so it looked like it was opposite.
Yeah, Kurumi and Sora have the game and of those black and white pieces, and they're betting essentially memories and all that, and that's when Kurumi trusts Sora. I want to say it's episode 9.
Yeah.
And that's when they have that flashback with Shira and Sora.
Yep, sounds right.
And then the last game we got to watch was the game between Humanity and the War Beasts. Lance, what did you think of that one?
I liked that they put their race's chess piece on the line for this one. You know, Sora said that he was going to give up his chess piece in order to, he was going to take the other chess piece if they won, right? Like, that's That's how that ended, right?
No.
Like, not just to jump in.
Sora. All Sora did was put up his chess piece. Well,
Wait,
their chess piece.
Yeah, he didn't demand theirs in return.
No.
The Eastern Peninsula.
Yep.
It was essentially the rest of the land that Amenity had lost under the previous king.
Right.
He got all of that land back.
Right. Okay. Yep. That's right. Yeah. So I liked that Sora was able to challenge that, like, give that kind of intensity. But to get into the actual game, do you guys remember what the game was actually called?
I don't.
Crap! I didn't put that in my notes, so we can edit the part out.
I believe the game is called Love or Love Part 2, and it's a form of Cops and Robbers.
Right. Yeah. So they had the main characters running around trying to kill the main characters, but then they had all the NPC characters in the way, and they had every time they shot an NPC, like their love guns got more ammo or something like that.
Well, it got depleted.
No, when they shot it, depleted, and then if they hit an NPC, it would refill, and then if they shot each other, it would refill as well. But then they would be under that love spell for, I think they said 10 seconds.
Something like that. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting part. Especially when, I forgot who was the first one to get shot out was Jabril or Steph. Anyway, they both eventually got shot and went against Sora. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea. Like, they switched sides, and that's how Izuna got more people on her side. So that was pretty cool. Before the final game even started, Sora, whispered something to Stephanie about how to beat this game in the end. And I didn't quite appreciate how this even started because he whispered something to her before even knowing exactly what this game was even about. But in the end, it all worked out to his perfect explanation. Because when they entered this game, they thought that they were back in the real world. They thought they were back in Japan. And they started having a little freak out because they're they're not used to being in the open. But then they realize that they're just in another game within a game. And that's where everything takes off.
Well, they kind of explain it because during that last game, the one that we had talked about where he bets Steph about the birds, he never asks for anything. So he still has essentially one wish or command over her.
Oh yeah, that's right.
A favor.
Yeah, one favor. And that's essentially what they use is that one favor that he has left over.
Mm-hmm.
Which, when you watch Shira and see all the calculations that she's using, it figures out that's the only way that they can win is by that.
Mm-hmm. I liked how Sora explained how both him and Shiro have like different games that they truly excel at, where one falls short, the other one does better, and Shiro is the sharpshooter of the two. So it was to see her like try to scope out Izuna from a far distance, and then have us get disappointed when Izuna somehow manages to deflect stuff. Not deflect, but avoid getting shot. Just adds to the drama.
And then, of course, you got to see your favorite transformation.
Oh, yeah. And then when Izuna goes into her beast mode, explaining how she's finally having fun after Sora asked her Sora asked her one time, when's the last time you truly had fun?
That was right before they entered the game.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And then just kind of mind fuck with her there. And I think that's where really, I wouldn't say really the downfall, but it showed some character building between Izuna. So I thought it was pretty cool because she's a pretty blank-faced character as she is. What did you guys think about how Shiro was basically faking how she was under the spell?
Honestly, she didn't have to do any type of acting. She just acted like herself. Quiet, serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she fooled me, obviously.
Yeah, I don't think, they didn't have to pull too much anime BS out of that one. You can go with that one. Easy to roll with.
Yeah, I thought it was a good play manipulation type tactic.
I definitely appreciate how intricate it was, how detailed. I said before, Sora really explains his science. So once everything was said and done, and how he explains what happened or how he won, I thought that was pretty cool. I like how everything gets done, and I like an explanation for things. If you guys haven't picked up on that yet,
yeah, they definitely explain how Stephanie was basically the all-time winner, the ace in the sleeve.
Yeah.
What were you saying before, Matt? You said he whispered something to her. Or was that you, Len?
I said that, yeah. I said that Sora whispered something into Stephanie's ear, and that was how she would have to be like blindfolded riding on an NPC.
No, that's when he explains it.
Well,
Matt said something earlier. What were you saying?
I think that was the...
I was trying to set you up, but it was how she's the most important character or whatever.
Well, she's not. She's definitely not a useless character.
No. When that's what he whispered to her ear. That she be the most important one.
I must have missed that because I don't remember. I don't remember saying that to her.
Oh, we were talking about it off air 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, it's I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind. I was trying to get you to talk a little bit more because it's only been me and him. That's why I wanted to keep on talking about it.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, so Stephanie basically becomes the reason why Team Sora wins in the end, and that's kind of the end of that lovey-dovey love part 2 is concluded. And that kind of concludes season 1 of this one. And before we move into any kind of information about the movie, this is going to be a great opportunity to introduce Matt's Manga Minute.
Really, when it comes to the manga, I didn't find much of anything. They only have a couple things, a couple chapters. I found 10 chapters, and that's essentially goes to the chess match. So it's not very far. I think that's episode 3 of the anime. And I did look into just more about everything, and this is actually a light novel. And there's, as of right now, there are 10 chapters or 10 books in the light novel series. And when it comes to where the anime stops, it's actually number 3, and the movie is number 6. So if you guys do watch the movie and you're super confused, well, that's because you have 2 books worth of information that you have no idea what's going on. And I know I was confused. Lance, you said you were confused. And Ricky, you said you were kind of confused about just the information. Like, it doesn't really make sense.
Right, like the movie itself was kind of just there as like pointless filler because we were missing information. Like, it was just it didn't fit in.
I wouldn't really go that far. Like, yeah, it was confusing, but it had information that was useful to the story.
Right, like
they go back. They obviously start off with Tet and Izuna playing chess.
Uh-huh.
So from right off the bat, you're kind of wondering where this is staged.
Right.
Now we found out this from novel 6, but they did have a little bit of useful information on it.
Right, and I think the only reason I was able to stay on board with everything was because this was a pre-story, a precursor to the first season. They said that it was 6,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Before everything even came to. So that's why I was able to roll with it.
And yeah, as far as the manga compared to the anime, there was no real differences. Ricky, what'd you think of the movie? Like, I know you had said that you liked the
Machina.
Yeah, the Machina part. Anything else that you liked about the movie?
I like the fight scenes.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the anime, everything's ruled by game, so there's really no fighting. You can't kill anybody. But I do like the fighting and how they have their interpretation. Well, they had the first 6 pledges, which kind of led to the 10 pledges later on.
People died in the movie, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, like... I
think he names off, 48 people when he...
Oh, I actually really liked that. Like, that kind of hit me. It was just an anime. I'm like, but damn, he's just rattling off all those names. Like,
it was very emotional.
I appreciated that.
Yeah, 48 people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And the fact that he named all 48 was like kind of a time filler right there, really. But at the same time, like, it adds to the emotion. So that's good.
So I definitely am impressed by the fighting. Jabril, fucking badass.
She is so badass.
Powerful.
Uh-huh.
So obviously anime can be about everything. You have the food war anime. It can be about everything. But most of the time anime is about fighting. So I do appreciate that they brought that back for this series. Because you really I don't think you see any type of fighting.
Nope. You only get really glimpses of it when Tet talks about the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you don't have any actual fight scenes. And one thing to keep in mind when I was doing some research is, so Ashanto was a part of the 6 pledges, And so enchanté, which is what they say
In the
to
movie.
when they raise the right hand to actually say we're gonna, means that the pledges apply to them, comes from the 6 pledges. It's just a play on the word.
Right.
What'd you like or dislike, Lance?
My mind was a little scrambled through all the crazy information that was just being thrown at you. I thought it was kind of okay. Something I liked that was also kind of a little cringy, but at the same time, it is just more for the humor. Is when Shuvi is like giving herself to Riku, and like she says something along the lines of like, "You're the only one that can see me naked" or something like that. Like, it's kind of funny. Every time that like his Riku's sister or something walks in and like catches them at the wrong time, I get it. That kind of comedy was pretty funny to me.
I can appreciate that. It wasn't an 11-year-old girl.
Right. Yeah, and then, there's that little bit of that romance that was trying to blossom between the two, but they mentioned it in the beginning that Shuvi was, a machine and nothing could truly come from it, but she was still pushing for it. And at the end, nothing came of it because she finally realized that it's not going to work out that way. But I think ultimately really is getting into the actual battle scenes and the fight scenes. I think that truly wins over this.
I think we can all agree on that. That's probably the best part of this entire movie, was all the fight scenes.
It's kind of one of the only ways you can keep someone interested in something like this. From what I remember, I think the animation was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
for a movie.
The animation in the anime and in the movie was great. I enjoyed both. I thought the light colors, when it came to all the characters, instead of being realistic, they made it very game-like. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, everything was very vibrant.
You want to sign us out, Matt?
Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of the Anime Lounge podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, and let us know if you guys have any questions, comments about this episode.